Under the red sunset in the wild swamp, migratory birds cried out in a hurry, as if signaling something terrifying was rising from the murky water. People living along the ancient river have passed down the story for generations that under the rippling waves lurks a creature that even the gods must be wary of, the giant crocodile. It is unlike any other predator. Its body as long as a boat. Its scales as rough as rusted steel plates. Its yellow eyes glowing in the darkness like two ghostly torches. Every time it rises from the water, its panting breath and its wide-open snout revealing sharp teeth strong enough to crush a large log makes people shudder in fear. The story of the giant crocodile is not just a legend. Because many people have disappeared during fishing nights, leaving only their boats drifting and blood stains red on the river. It is said that there are crocodiles that are nearly 10 meters long, weigh tons, and when they wag their tails, they can capsize a large boat. The giant footprints printed on the mud every morning, half a hand deep. Are proof of that unpredictable power. And so, in fear mixed with curiosity, people began to think of ways to deal with them. Because if not, the whole land would not be able to live in peace. The old people in the village often say that giant crocodiles are intelligent and extremely patient. They know how to wait, know how to hide, and often choose when people are most vulnerable to attack. That is why crocodile hunting sessions always become a battle of wits for survival. It is not simply using sharp spears or crude traps, but must understand their habits, know how to lure them, know how to deceive them. Crocodile hunters must have a brave heart, eyes as sharp as a hawk, and ears that can hear every ripple. Just a small mistake is enough to turn them into a meal for the beast. In those days, when the fields were still wild, village children were forbidden to venture to the riverbanks at dusk. Every mother's heart ached as she recalled the stories of loss. But people were not resigned. A group of brave hunters decided that if the crocodiles were left alone, sometimes even using dead animals as bait, crocodiles are greedy, and when they smell fresh blood, they will find it hard to resist. But even when trapped, they are strong enough to break bamboo sticks like straw, and only traps reinforced with iron and thick ropes can hold them for a while. Hunters have said that to take down a crocodile, the important thing is to hit the weak points on the neck and belly, because the scales on its back are as hard as armor. Some people dare to wait for the moment when it opens its mouth, then plunge the spear straight into its throat. Some people choose to surround it, throw a thick net over its head and hold it down, letting it gradually become exhausted. But all of these methods are extremely dangerous. And many people have lost their lives. However, every time they succeed, the whole village cheers, because they not only gain safety but also collect valuable crocodile skin, crocodile meat enough to feed the whole community, and most importantly, the pride of having defeated the beast. The battle between humans and giant crocodiles has continued through many generations. Becoming a living part of history. The stories are embroidered, sometimes adding mystery, sometimes full of blood and tears. But all create an epic picture of the endless struggle between small humans and giant natural forces. And then, as the sky gradually brightened, the blood stains on the river spread out, mixed with the murky water. As if the river was swallowing its secret, the survivors rowed back, their eyes red from staying up all night, their bodies covered in wounds and mud. They knew that this war was not over, because the monster was still there. It was only wounded but not dead. And the haunting still hung over the heads of everyone in the village. The cries of wives who had lost their husbands. The screams of children who had lost their fathers. All were like knives cutting into the hearts of the living. But at the same time, the fire of hatred in their hearts also burned, urging them to think of new, smarter ways to defeat the beast that had spread terror. The elders in the village gathered, recounting the experiences of their ancestors. They mentioned ancient stories when the whole tribe had to migrate because of the crocodile's harassment. Once, an old man said that the giant crocodile was the spirit of the river, the incarnation of monsters from the chaos, immortal and invincible. But there were also young hunters who did not believe in the legend. They only saw before their eyes a beast of flesh and blood, with pain, and could certainly be killed. The collision of mystical beliefs and bravery created a collective strength, both fearful and fierce, making the whole village live in a state of extreme tension. The next day, they began to make larger traps, planting hundreds of sharp wooden stakes on the riverbank, creating a natural fence. They took large drums, beating them loudly to make noise, hoping to drive the monster to an area where the trap had been set. The whole village participated, men holding spears, women preparing ropes, children helping to carry supplies. It was not just a hunt, but also a terrifying festival of survival. Everyone knew that if they failed, the whole village would pay with many more lives. When the sun went down, the sky was red as blood. They went to the river again. The buffaloes were tied tightly and placed in bamboo cages. Blood was sprinkled on the water surface so that the fishy smell would spread far and wide, luring the crocodile to surface. The air was silent. In the wild world of the Arctic, where ice reigns and the sea roars, there is a special creature with big round eyes and a round body, the seal. They are master divers, gracefully gliding through the frigid waters to hunt fish, squid and crustaceans. Seals live in large groups, often resting on ice floes or rocky beaches, where they sunbathe and care for their young. Their loud calls blend with the wind, creating a unique symphony of wild nature. For many indigenous communities living in the Arctic, seals are not only part of the ecosystem but also an essential source of life since ancient times. Hunting seals has been a cultural tradition and the only way for them to survive in the harsh environment. Hunters often use small boats, quietly approaching the rocky beaches where the seals rest. They have to move extremely carefully, each step lightly on the ice, so as not to disturb their prey. Traditional hunting weapons are usually spears made of bone or wood, with sharp tips. Once close enough, the hunter will throw the spear with great force and precision, aiming at the vital points of the animal. This is not just a hunting skill but also an art, requiring patience, strength and a deep understanding of seal behavior. Once the animal has been brought down, the butchering process begins. This stage takes place on the spot, on the ice or on the shore. Hunters use specialized knives to butcher the seal quickly and efficiently. They carefully remove the thick layer of fat under the skin. A valuable source of energy and raw material for making oil for lighting. The meat is cut into small pieces, ready for cooking. The bones and skin of the seal are also used extensively. The skin is used to make clothes, shoes, and tents. And the bones are used to make tools. In these communities, no part of the animal is wasted. However, the modern seal hunt has been controversial. Animal rights groups have condemned the practice, saying it is cruel and endangers seal populations. In response, indigenous peoples have insisted that their hunt is part of their traditional culture. Carried out in a sustainable and respectful manner, distinct from commercial hunting. The story of seals and humans is a complex example of the intersection of traditional culture, survival needs, and modern environmental concerns. It is a story of life, death, respect, and the struggle to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Seal hunting, a long-standing tradition, faces new challenges today. Climate change is melting Arctic ice, shrinking the seal's habitat and making hunting more difficult. Hunters have to travel farther and take greater risks to find their prey. Yet they still hold to their traditional principles, hunting to survive. Not to get rich. Seal meat remains an important part of the diet, providing essential protein and energy. The thick layer of fat is melted down to produce oil, which is used to fuel lamps and provide warmth during the long winter nights. Seal skin, after being carefully processed, becomes a durable material for clothing, boots and other items. Helping them withstand the bitter cold. The story of seal hunting is not only an act of survival but also a lesson in the connection between humans and nature. It shows how indigenous communities live in harmony with their environment, taking full advantage of everything nature has to offer and respecting it. While the outside world may see this hunting as cruel, for them it is a celebration of life and a way to maintain a culture that has existed for thousands of years. As winter sets in, seal fishermen face a new challenge, hunting seals in freezing sea conditions. Traditional methods are adapted to this environment. They no longer use boats, but instead use sleds pulled by dogs or motorized sleds. The hunters will walk along crevices or breathing holes in the ice to find seals. Seal hunting requires patience and keen observation. The hunters have to lie quietly for hours, waiting for seals to emerge from the ice to get some air. Once they have spotted their prey, they will use a specialized rifle or spear to quickly finish them off. This ensures that the seals do not suffer unnecessary pain and is part of the code of respect for animals that they follow. The process of butchering seals on the ice also requires dexterity and agility. They must complete the job before the meat is completely frozen. The fat, meat and skin are carefully separated and packaged for transport back to the village. Seal fat, rich in vitamin D and omega-3 fatty acids, is an important source of nutrition to help them cope with the bitter cold. Nowadays, with the development of technology and cultural exchange, many young people are no longer interested in traditional hunting. However, some communities still try to preserve and pass on these skills to the next generation. Seal hunting is not simply an act of survival but also a cultural heritage, a thread connecting people with nature, with their roots. It reminds them of the preciousness of life and the importance of living in harmony with the environment. The life of seal hunters in the Arctic is not just about hunting, but also about sharing and community. When a seal is brought back to the village, it is not just a single person's catch. The entire community participates in the butchering and distribution process. Each family receives their share, ensuring that no one goes hungry during the harsh winter months. This strengthens the bonds between members, turning each hunt into a highly social collective activity. For the Inuit, hunting seals is a symbol of respect. They believe that the spirit of the seal will be released and reborn, as long as the animal is treated with the utmost respect. Therefore, after hunting, they never waste any part of the animal. The fat, meat, skin, and even bones are all used. The skins are carefully flayed to make waterproof jackets and trousers, and the bones are carved into tools and works of art. Each item made from seals carries a story, a part of culture and history. The chef's instinct and the art of training in cutting bluefin tuna. Each stroke of the knife is a delicate dance, requiring the coordination of the hands and the mind. Not only is it a skill, it is also an art that requires many years of hard work. The chef must understand the bone structure and muscle fibers of the fish. Skillfully moving the knife through each vein to separate the meat completely without tearing or crushing, ensuring that the freshness and quality are preserved. The first step is to cut off the gills and fins, then remove the skin. Next, the chef will carefully make a straight cut from the head to the tail of the fish, splitting the fish body into two halves. After that, they will separate the belly, where there are the most fatty and precious muscles, to make the famous toro dish. This dish is considered the pinnacle of sashimi cuisine. with a rich flavor that melts in the mouth. The next step is to remove the red meat from the back, also known as a commie. This dish is not as fatty as toro but has a sweet taste. Finally, the craftsman will remove the meat near the tail and fins, where the meat is tough and firm, often used to make soups or stews. A master chef will know how to make use of every part of the fish, ensuring that nothing is wasted. Each cutting action of the fish not only shows the skill in technique but also respect for the ingredients. The chef must put all his heart into the work to bring dishes that are not only delicious but also reflect the spirit of the artist. The knife continues to glide, not only with precision but also a silent dialogue between the craftsman and the fish. Each cut reveals the secrets of the meat, of the fat hidden deep inside. This is not a hasty job, but a ritual, a journey of discovery. The master chef knows that bluefin tuna is not just an ingredient, but a creature of the ocean, containing the essence of the sea. From the fatty otoro in the front belly, to the hutoro that balances fat and lean, to the rich red akami in the loin, each part has its own story and purpose. The master's skill is not just to separate the meat, but to highlight the unique beauty and flavor of each fiber. The knife not only cuts, but also carves, creating smooth, perfect sashimi slices. Their talent also lies in handling the bones and remaining debris. Nothing is thrown away in vain. The fish bones are used to make broth, creating bowls of rich miso soup. The meat attached to the bones is scraped off to make nigitoro rolled in rice. A simple but sophisticated dish. Each part of the fish is cherished, transformed to serve different dishes, from high-end sashimi to everyday dishes. Demonstrating the chef's absolute understanding and respect for natural ingredients. Perfection comes not only from the hands, but also from careful preparation. Before putting down the blade, the craftsman must ensure that the fish is properly chilled to preserve its freshness. They also need a set of sharp and specialized knives, each with its own task. From the long maguro boko knife for cutting the fish to the smaller knife for cutting the meat. After cutting the fish, they will carefully classify and preserve the meat. Otoro, hutoro and akami are placed on separate trays, lined with specialized absorbent paper to absorb moisture, then kept at the correct temperature in the refrigerator. This process helps the fish meat to tighten. The color becomes richer and the umami flavor is also pushed to a new level. Masters are not just butchers. They are masters of flavor. They understand how fish changes over time and how to preserve it to achieve its best state. Their skill is not just a single action, but a series of meticulous processes. From selecting the freshest fish, cutting it with respect. To carefully preserving it to preserve the full flavor of the ocean. Each slice of bluefin tuna on a sashimi plate is not just a dish, but also a work of art. A perfect combination of skill, respect and love for food. At the end of the cutting process, the craftsman not only creates perfect pieces of meat, but also performs a final ritual presentation. Each slice of bluefin tuna, with colors ranging from the deep red of akami to the pale pink of otoro, is meticulously arranged on the plate. This arrangement is not random, but a subtle combination of colors and textures. Telling a story about the fish and its journey from the sea to the table. The master chef understands that the beauty of the dish is as important as its flavor. Each slice of fish is cut to the exact thickness and size, ensuring that when enjoying it, diners will fully feel the fat, sweetness and melting of each piece of meat. They can add a few slices of pink ginger, a little fresh wasabi or shiso leaves to enhance the natural flavor of the fish, creating a work of culinary art.